5 after 5, at least here in Switzerland, and therefore we will start. And I want to welcome all of you today for this session of Collaboard. We will show you the new features which we added to our online whiteboard application in 2021. And we also will highlight some new use cases you can fulfill now with Collaboard. So the agenda is like this. So first of all, we will present the new features. We will have then a look at our roadmap and the features which will come now in March and April. Then we will have a look at some new use cases. And then in the end, you will have the option to ask questions personally. And if you have questions during the presentation, feel free to use the chat. For all the people who are on Twitter, we are now new on Twitter. So what you can do with your mobile phone, you can scan here this QR code, and we are happy for all the new followers. And then on Twitter, you also see how Collaboard is evolving. You find information about the updates. So basically what we are posting now already on LinkedIn is also available on Twitter. So let's start now with the new features. And basically today we will present you what we have done in the last 3 or 4 months, mostly based on users and customer requests. So for all of you who provided us feedback regarding features, usability, thanks a lot for this. This really helped us to improve the application. And here you just see an overview about what we will talk today. So we will, of course, have a look at the quick links, about the new object menus. We will talk about the integrations we did, like Microsoft Teams and Zoom. We will have a look at the user presents feature, which allows you now to display the mouse movement of other people on the board. And let's start now with the first features, and this is the quick links. So basically the quick links help us to navigate on a big board. So you have seen now, I'm just jumping directly to a sticky note, and the quick link is something you can add on a single object, like on a node, or also to a group of objects. And in the end, we display here an agenda, so of all a summary of all the quick links. And in this case, you see also next to quick link, you have now a keyboard shortcut. So we added these keyboard shortcuts to the quick links, and this is quite cool because now you can jump from one direction on the board to the other without opening this quick link feature. You can just click, use the keyboard shortcuts and then jump to the next section. So we will do this, and we will go now to the new object menu by using the keyboard shortcut. So in this case, it's a Command Shift and 3. And if I'm pressing this, we are jumping right away to the next element on the board. And this helps us now to create more fluent presentations when using Collaboard. And this is now the next feature I would like to introduce to you. This is basically a usability optimization. We had this hamburger menu in the past, and now we started to add this new object menu, which is here directly above every object and element. So I'll make this a little bit bigger. Yes, okay. So here we see now this new object menu, and it always appears directly. And basically the big improvement here is that you are now faster by one click with everything you do on the board. So this is a huge usability improvement. And with this new menu, you have now also the option to change the font size, the color, and basically do everything you were able to do before with the hamburger menu. And then there is here the option to also get some more features like quick links, voting, and so on. So basically, we removed the hamburger menu and we started to add this new object menu. And this is present for all the elements. If it's a document, if it's an image, a sticky note, or whatever, you always see this now in this new layout. So if you're wondering why this is black here in my case, so I'm using Collaboard today in the dark mode. Of course, when you switch to the light mode, it's a little bit different. So this is a first usability improvement we have done because a lot of customers requested to be faster when working with Collaboard. And this was one first step. Then we also had a lot of feedback regarding the colors. So what we are doing here in Collaboard, we provide you with 12 pre-selected colors, which we think are quite great and fit together very well. But maybe you want to use your corporate colors when working with Collaboard. And this is why we started to add the possibility to change the color of a sticky note, of a text, a shape. And you can do this like that. So let's add now a green sticky note. And in this case, we don't want to have it green. We would like to pick here this nice black. And what we did now, we added here to this object menu, now the option that you have a color picker. So you can choose the color you want. You can enter a hex color. Or what's really cool, and this is maybe my favorite improvement we have now with the new color picker, is here the option that I can move around and I can pick the color of every element on the board. So for all the people joining new, it would be cool if you can mute yourself. Thank you very much. And so what I was showing you now is this color picker. So basically, if you have an image, your logo, or whatever, you can just hover over and then grab the color and adjust it to that. So this is a thing which I think is really cool and makes you a lot faster when working now with Collaboard. So this is the color picker, and it's available on cards, on shapes, and also on text and on the connections, of course. Then if you look at the menu on the left, we removed here one option, and this is the option to draw. So basically, we thought that we wanted also to remove one click or one step when choosing a pen, and we relocated the drawing menu now to the upper right of the canvas. And in this case here, you see now the different pens you can choose. Also, you have here the option to choose a different color. We have also the color picker for the pen as well. And if you start now to draw on the canvas directly, you can do this in a very easy way. And then you can change the color, you can get the eraser and everything with one click. And this is why we removed the drawing menu from the left panel and we put it up here to this menu on the upper right. So it's everything about usability and providing you a faster way to work with Collaboard. So these are some of these usability features. Now, we also worked on this left panel. So in this case here, when you add an image, before the image search was quite small, and now we added this new experience. And if you are searching now an image on the web, so let's look for Collaboard. So in this case, you see these images much bigger, you have a better overview, and then in the end, you can drag and drop an image directly here from the canvas. And we updated this left panel and unified the experience for the images, but also for the videos. So if you want to upload a video or if you are looking for a video on YouTube, and what you can do as well for the shapes. In this case here, we have these all shapes options. And now you can add the shapes and choose here as well the color you want to use or enter a hex color code if you want to do that. So this is this update on the left panel, which just makes it easier for you to select content and then to drag and drop it directly to the canvas itself. Now, when we talk about being fast with an application, we had many requests for keyboard shortcuts. And this is why we started to implement many of them. So in this case here, you just see a few. So for example, if I select now a sticky note, and with Control L, I can lock it directly. With Control 0, I can zoom out of the board just using the keyboard. Or what I really like is also the option to start drawing. So I just press, in this case, D, and then I can start drawing. Or if I want to erase, I press E, and in this case, now I can erase. In case you're using Collaboard with a drawing tablet from Wacom or other brands, and you have a pen which you can configure, in this case, you can use also these keyboard shortcuts, for example, to configure the eraser. So you're even one click faster getting the eraser to erase something. Another element to be faster is also the double click. So Collaboard remembers what you have done in the past. And with a double click, you can generate a new object on the canvas. And this can be a note, a shape, or a text. So actually, I don't remember what I did last. So let's just try. And with a double click, you see now I'm getting this heart again. And if I'm creating now a green sticky note, and if I make a double click on the canvas again, then I get the green sticky note. So Collaboard always remembers this last action. And in this case, this makes you faster when working with the board. Imagine you're doing a brainstorming session, so you can just do double click, and so on, and generate then the new sticky notes. As said before, this is just these are just a few of these keyboard shortcuts. If you want to know where all the other keyboard shortcuts are, you need to go to our help website, and there you find a list with all the keyboard shortcuts. I will show you later how you can do this. And there is one more keyboard shortcut which really helps me a lot when working now with Collaboard. So imagine now this scenario. So I'm adding, let's say, 2 sticky notes. And now if I want to grab both of them, then usually I'm using this area selection option. So I select now the area. I can move them, but in this case now, if you look at my mouse pointer, I can't move on the canvas, so I'm always selecting. So in this case, we implemented now the option that you can press the space bar, and if you look at my mouse pointer, it now changes. So now I can navigate, I can select, I can navigate again, I can select, and this is quite cool because this also makes me faster when navigating on a canvas, and this option to press the space bar is something I'm using a lot because I don't need then to switch always between area select and not area select and so on. Now, when you're working a lot with shapes, you maybe discovered that sometimes you need to unlock the ratio because you want to use a square as a rectangle and so on. So we also changed this behavior. And if you're adding now here a square and we want to transform that into a rectangle, in the past, we always needed to do it like this. So there was one dimension and another dimension. So you always needed to adjust it like that. And we thought about what could be the best usability for our users. And we thought that the behavior people know from PowerPoint might be the best. And this is why we improved now the ratio unlock feature by adding here the option to resize the shape in any dimension just by dragging it. And this is also very helpful. It's a tiny improvement, but I think if you compare it with the ratio unlock before, it helps you a lot when you work a lot with shapes. And now the last thing we added to make Collaboard easier to use and also to help you doing something, we added here on top the help button. So in case you have a question, you can always click here on help. And now you're redirected to our help center, which is state of the art. So in this case, we are looking for the keyboard shortcuts. So I just type in keyboard and now our help center suggests me where to go. And in this case, I just click on keyboard shortcuts. And now here I found the complete list of the shortcuts I can use. And this is quite useful. So in case you don't understand how something works in Collaboard, you are now one click away from our help center to get the information needed to solve your question. Yeah, so these were all these usability improvements we added in the past, from the quick links to the new menus, to the draw options, to the keyboard shortcuts. And now next, I would like to show you some of the integrations we did. So the first integration we added was the Microsoft Teams integration. And this means you can add Collaboard now as an app directly in Microsoft Teams. And this is quite cool. So if you go to Teams and then add an app, you can use Collaboard like that. And if you're one of our customers who is doing self-hosting of Collaboard, so this means when you're using Collaboard on premises or you're using Collaboard from your own cloud, we can also provide you a special version of this Microsoft Teams app. So you're able to use Collaboard on-premise or self-hosted directly in Microsoft Teams with this special application. Also to mention is that this is the first implementation of Microsoft Teams with Collaboard. So we already have planned to improve this in the future, to integrate it more closely, and to provide you more features when working with Collaboard and with Teams. So this was the first integration where we integrated Collaboard into another app. And now the next integration works the other way around, because in this case here, we integrated Zoom in Collaboard. And I want to show you now how this is working based on the meeting we are in. So if you want to start the Zoom integration in Collaboard, then here on the left, you have this Zoom meeting icon. And in this case, we just open that. We are entering now the meeting ID of our meeting today. And if we have a password, of course, the password. And now what we're doing is we're joining the meeting directly in Collaboard itself. So we see now that somebody new is attending. And in this case, it might be a bit weird. So it might look a little bit like Inception, because now you see Collaboard screen sharing inside Collaboard again. But we can switch now. So you see here me. And this Zoom object now stays on the canvas. So if I move around, I always see the people. So in case if I'm doing a workshop and you are the presenter, people joining the Zoom meeting directly in Collaboard can always see you. And this makes this whole collaborative experience much more personal than without having this. So in this case, the Zoom integration is stays directly on the board. And you have also all the options you have in Zoom. So basically I can access now in here, I can access the chat. There was a question regarding the Zoom meeting I would like to answer right now. So you can't start a Zoom meeting from Collaboard. So this SDK, which Zoom offers to application developer, allows us to join a meeting. So in the case you're hosting a workshop, you are starting the Zoom meeting once, and then you are using it from Collaboard as well. The idea in the end is that you start the Zoom meeting as a workshop facilitator, and then all your attendees, they can join the meeting directly from Collaboard, and you don't have this need to switch the application when doing your workshop. Yes, and these are these two amazing integrations which we released now in Q1. We have planned some more for the next quarter in 2021. So stay tuned also for more integrations in the future. Now, when working with Collaboard, there is always the difficulty that you have an infinite whiteboard canvas and you have a lot of people. You might not know where they are on the board. And this is why we started to add a new feature, and this new feature is called the user presents. So in this case, you can enable now the user presents and see the people which joined your board. And let me show you this here in this video. Yes, now you see. So in this case, Michael is now presenting. So I'm zooming out, and Albert in this case is following me. And you always see my mouse pointer of the presenter. And this is quite useful when you are doing a presentation, when you're a teacher holding a lecture or whatever. So you can always get the attention to the people where it should be. And this is a second element which we added to make the user presents better on the board. So I'm stopping the presentation mode on my other device. And next I would like to show you that we also started to add some more information when people are working on the board. So since now we always displayed the icon if somebody was doing something. And now, besides the user icon, we are always displaying as well the name. So in case you had two people with the same initials, now you don't have this problem anymore. So you always see the name of the people. Of course, if you have two Michael Guregs, where the possibility is maybe quite low, you might still have the difference. But in this case, you can use a different user icon. So this is how we improved now the user presence and what you see from people directly on the board. The next optimization which we released was the possibility that you can upload a CSV file with all the people which are in your team. So this makes the whole team management much easier. And in case you're managing a team, you can do this by just uploading a CSV file with all the users. Then they automatically get an email, can register. So this is basically optimizing the whole management processes for team admins. And it's quite cool because you're also then much faster doing that. And when we talk about tables and CSV, we also implemented a feature where you can generate sticky notes automatically from a table. And in this case here, I uploaded here an Excel. So I'm just downloading that shortly, opening it. And in this case, this is an Excel with a list of mountains in Switzerland. So it's the 10 highest mountains. And what I'm doing now is I'm just copying from the whole list. Let's move now a little bit down. And while I'm pasting that, you see I'm able now in this case to generate sticky notes automatically based on that. And here as well, we see now the last sticky note was Weisshorn. So Collaboard also remembered that. And if I'm doing now a double click on the canvas, I'm getting this sticky note as well. So this was now a first way how you bring in ideas from a brainstorming session, which you might have in an Excel directly to Collaboard. And we have also planned that you can export your sticky note as a CSV and reuse them for other purposes. Yes, and that's about automatically generating sticky notes from tables. You don't need to do this from an Excel. You can also do this if you have a table in Word or another file. Usually this is not an issue. Just copy all the elements from the table. Collaboard is recognizing that and is providing you then all these files, sticky notes. Now, the last optimization, a new feature I would like to talk about today is the option that you can upload SVG files to Collaboard directly. So if you have an icon set, which are SVG, so you can upload them now directly just by dragging and dropping them to Collaboard, or you can go here to images and just browse your files and then start adding SVGs to Collaboard. And with that, we also want to show you that we are extending the file types you can add into Collaboard. So we're soon planning as well to add the option that you can upload MP3 files. And we also think about adding more options for the upload of documents. While at the moment we support PDF, PowerPoint, Word, and Excel, we might have others in the future as well. Yeah, and if we jump now back, this was mainly the overview about all the new features which we added now in Q1 2021. And next, I would like to take you to the roadmap to show you on what we are working now at the moment. And just for your information, our roadmap is always publicly available. So in the www.collaboard.app/roadmap, you can access it. You see what we are working on, and also feel free to vote on features to let you know what you would like to see next. And you can hand in ideas so we can basically see what you would like to have in Collaboard and prioritize that based on the customer requests. So what we are going to do now next is we are improving the voting and rating experience. We give you the option to add links to objects. We completely change the way how you work with templates in Collaboard. We offer you the option to tag projects, and there will be a minimap which is useful for navigating in a large canvas. But I don't want just to talk about that. I also would like to show you where we are going. And in this case here, you see how the new voting and rating will look like in Collaboard. By the way, this should be available in April. And what you see here now, you see that you can start a voting or a rating session. So you can decide if you want to do this thumb up or the star thing. You can couple this with a duration, so you can let the attendees know how long they have time to spend their votes. And additionally, you can also say when you do a voting session, how many votes the people have. So you can say, okay, for this next session, everybody has 10 votes. And in this case here, you can also select the people you want to vote on the elements in Collaboard. And we keep this philosophy that you can vote on every object. So not just on images and sticky note, you can also vote on documents, maybe flyers you uploaded, on videos, on shapes, and so on. So this stays a generic feature here. And this is now the new way how a facilitator can start a voting session. And in the end, so when you stop voting, we improved a lot the results. So in this case here, you always see which element get the most votes, and you also are able to store these sessions as well. So afterwards, you can have a look on the votes you have done in the past. So with that, we believe we covered a lot of requests from customers and provide a very sophisticated voting and rating experience on an online whiteboard. So I'm looking forward to have this live very, very soon. So this is this improvement about the voting and the rating. Now we got a lot of requests to change the way how to work with templates. For now, when you want to work with a template in Collaboard, you need to decide which template to use when you create a new project. And in the future, this will change completely, because what we are doing is we're adding the option to add templates to a board directly to the menu on the left. And in this case here, what you can do now, you can choose from the templates we have and add them directly to the board. The cool thing in this case here is that you can have multiple templates on the same board, and you're much more flexible than you were in the past. So I believe this will help a lot when you are in the flow, brainstorming, maybe starting with a business model canvas and then moving on with other activities. And what you see here as well, so we see here that we have the Collaboard library, and in a second step, there will be a new feature which allows you then as well to use your library. So we are working on that, but this will take a little bit more time, that you can store your own templates and use them. If you're one of our customers who is using self-hosting option of Collaboard, this will be available sooner. So in this case, you can not choose my libraries, but you have the option to configure the library, the template library based on your needs. Now, when navigating on an infinite canvas, you can get lost quite easily. This is why we have now the quick links, the mouse pointer movement, and we are also starting to add a mini map. So this will be added to this navigation features on the bottom right corner. And with the mini map, basically you are faster in navigating on the canvas, and you also see where content is. So this is a big help when working with a lot of people, or when you have a huge canvas. This is what you can do with the minimap, and this shall be also released, I think, in end of March or then beginning of April. Now, if you are working like I do for almost 1 year with this new Collaboard version, you maybe have a lot of projects. So I think at the moment I have more than 500 projects. And I not always was very careful when giving names to projects. So usually I need to change them afterwards to be able to search for the projects I want to. And what we are doing now, we are adding the option that you can tag projects. And in this case here, you can open a project or just working from this project list, and then you can start adding tags. So imagine now you're a consultant agency and you're working with a customer, then you can start adding tags to your projects which are for customer X. If you are using some projects as templates, you can tag them as templates and so on. So I think this will help a lot in organizing the work you're doing in Collaboard. And the last feature I would like to highlight today, on which we are working on at the moment, is the option that you can link objects in Collaboard. And what you can do in this case, you can choose a sticky note, a shape or whatever, and then you can create a link. And you can create a link to an object inside Collaboard, or you can create a link to an external object. Maybe this is a website, a document on SharePoint, or whatever. Now, before jumping into the Q&A session, I would like to highlight a few use cases, as my voice is now getting back. So one use case is, of course, mind maps. So we have a lot of people using Collaboard to do mindset, conceptual maps, and so on. So in this case, we are still improving the experience, but I would like to show you one thing. So let me add here now a new text. And in this case here, I can now, let's say, duplicate this text, and I can start linking them together. So now if I want to create a mind map, I can just duplicate this again and again. So on what we are working on at the moment is creating a keyboard shortcut, so you can create a subnote directly. And what I would like to show you, if in this case here, you don't want this thin white line, so maybe you want to have like a thicker purple line, you have here the option to use the default settings, which are also something that helps you being faster when working with Collaboard. And now for the connections, we can, for example, change the color, and we can also increase here the connection size. And when we have done that and add a new element, so maybe in this case, let's add a shape here. And if we connect now this shape, then you see all the connections are now in this new way. And this is an option how we think we can improve already now the creation of mind maps. And then with the keyboard shortcut to be able to create a subnote, this will get them even faster. Now, a second use case is the brainstorming with the rating. So with this improvement of the voting and rating features, you will be much faster when you want to figure out which idea is the best of a group. So imagine this example, you have 5 people and everybody is adding 5 ideas. So you will end up with 25 ideas very quickly. And now figuring out which idea is the best might be difficult. And just with voting, you might not get the result you want to. So in Collaboard, you have now 2 levels to do that. So first of all, you can vote to identify, let's say, the 5 ideas which people like the most, and then choose these 5 ideas and apply a rating session. So you get also a star rating for these 5 ideas. And with this mechanism, you just have have different ways to find out which idea was the best considered by the group. So this is another cool use case. Now, as I have used already before, were this the quick links and the option to jump here with the quick links. And this changes now completely the way how you can present with Collaboard. Some of you may have worked with Prezi, so it goes really into this direction. And I just want to show you now how we can do this in a quick way. So in this case, you can really jump very fast on the canvas. It's very fluent. And this is now a cool new way to work here and to present. So if you are working with Collaboard and try to do a presentation, I highly recommend you to start working with quick links and using this way for presenting. And the last use case I would like to tell you today is about sharing videos. So when I upload now a video to Collaboard, or when I record a video or add a YouTube, and if I'm showing you this now in a video stream, so let's say here we get a YouTube video from Collaboard, let's say this one here, and we're adding this to the canvas. Now, if I play this here, I'm sure most of the viewers will have a little lag when watching this video. If you do this now in Collaboard, and if I'm starting the presentation mode, and if I launch the video, all the people will stream the video directly on the device. It's not a screen sharing anymore. And with that, they will see the video in the quality it was recorded. So this is a very cool way you can use to display content. And when you work a lot with videos, you don't have the problem anymore that it's maybe a little bit delayed or blurred for the people which are joining your session. And with that, you can completely not use screen sharing anymore in Zoom or other application, because you can do all of these things directly in Collaboard with the presentation mode. Thank you very much for attending our session today. I hope you learned something. I hope you have seen the improvements we made in the last months, and also where we're going to. And thank you everybody for using Collaboard. It will be a very interesting next weeks with all these new features coming. And feel free to go on our roadmap and give us feedback. So we're always happy to implement in Collaboard what our customers would like to have.